Now let us see some of the topics which are important. So these are methods of selection of recombinant host cell. So once you achieve the recombination and once you transfer that recombinant vector or DNA molecule into a host, then you have to select that host cells. So there are mainly three methods. First of them is insertional inactivation. So as you can see here, in A step there is a DNA insert DNA molecule. Along with that you can see here a plasmid molecule. So this plasmid molecule is PBR322, which contains two antibiotic resistance gene, ampicillin resistance and tetracycline gene. So in the first step you treat these both the molecules with the same restriction endonuclease enzyme, and you can see here the fragments of DNA. You can also see here the fragments of the vector molecule. So this restriction endonuclease enzyme may cleave that vector molecule in the ampicillin resistance gene, or it may cleave in between or any resistance gene is not disturbed. And third possibility is that it can disrupt the tetracycline resistance gene. And when in the third step we use DNA ligase enzyme, this DNA ligase enzyme will clone this DNA insert into either ampicillin resistance gene or tetracycline resistance gene or none of them. So we will get three types of recombinant vector DNA molecules. Now when this recombinant vector DNA molecules enter into the host cell, for example E. coli cell, with the help of transformation, then on a master plate we get the growth of few colonies. So if we plate these colonies on a tetracycline containing medium, then only that colonies will grow which has the DNA insert in the vector apart from the tetracycline resistance gene. That means if the DNA molecule is inserted into the tetracycline gene, then that bacteria will not grow here. Or if we grow this bacteria into ampicillin resistance gene, then only those bacteria will grow which have these two combinations of the vector or recombinant DNA molecule. The bacteria which has the gene inserted in the ampicillin resistant gene will not grow. So this is how we select the type of bacteria in the process called as insertional inactivation. Means our DNA is inactivating certain antibiotic resistance gene. Here it is inactivating ampicillin resistance gene, and in this case it is inactivating tetracycline resistance gene. So this is about insertional inactivation. Now we come to second method, which is blue-white screening. So as you can see in the screen, so there is a vector PUC-B vector. So this PUC-B vector or plasmid of University of California B vector contains ORI region, which is origin of replication. Then it contains the ampicillin resistance gene for the selection, and mainly it contains the LAG-Z gene. So LAG-Z gene is responsible for the formation of beta galactosidase enzyme. In the recombinant PUC-B vector, when foreign DNA insert molecule is inserted into the LAG-Z gene, so you can see here this DNA insert has been inserted into the position of LAG-Z gene. That means this LAG-Z gene is now destroyed, or half of the sequences of LAG-Z gene are on the right hand side of DNA insert, and half of the sequences of this LAG-Z gene are on the left side of DNA insert. That means this LAG-Z gene is destroyed, which also means that there is no formation of beta galactosidase enzyme, and in the left hand side there is formation of beta galactosidase enzyme. So this beta galactosidase enzyme is responsible for the formation of blue product, and when these bacteria or colonies grow on a nutrient agar containing ampicillin, the bacteria which has LAG-Z gene will give blue color colonies, and the bacteria which has inactive laxate gene or no beta galactosidase enzyme is producing, that colony will be white in color. So the colonies which are white in color represents the recombinant colonies. So that will be clear by seeing the white color colonies on a nutrient agar. So this is about the blue-white screening. Now we come to third method, which is colony hybridization method. So you can see here few steps. First step is A, that is we are growing a transformant colonies on a petri plate. Then we will take a velvet or paper or a nitrocellulose disc and we will make a replica plating of this transformant colonies, and we will paste this replica or we will grow these colonies on a nitrocellulose disc. So this is the third step. Then nitrocellulose disc will have the same colonies here as you can see here. So these are the transformant colonies. Now on the nitrocellulose disc, we will treat this disc in the presence of 0.5 molar NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, neutralize it and add proteinase to it, wash it, bake it at 80 degrees centigrade. So all these steps are required for breaking the colonies or lysing the bacterial cells. Then we will neutralize it and add proteinase. Proteinase will degrade all the protein present in the colonies or the bacteria, and we will wash it, bake it. Baking is for separating a double stranded DNA molecule into a single stranded DNA molecule. Now we will get a DNA print of this colonies on a nitrocellulose paper or disc. Next step is to add the P32 DNA probe into it. So P32 DNA probe is nothing but a radio labeled phosphorus molecule, which is single stranded in nature and which will attach to a DNA molecule or a colony where that complementary DNA strand is present. So when we incubate this replica plate or nitrocellulose disc with the help of P32 DNA probe, the probe will bind only to that sequence which has complementary sequence to it. And then after development of autoradiograph, which is developed by keeping the nitrocellulose disc in contact with the developing film, we will get a response and we will get a dot or a positive colony response. This positive colony has to be compared with a master plate, and then we will know what is the exact sequence or what exact sequence we wanted. So this is how the colony hybridization method works. Here the name is given colony hybridization because we can identify a colony which contains the gene of our interest. So this is for today. Thank you very much.